The decision of an empathetic hospice volunteer to bring a meal to an AIDS patient in 1985 was in itself a remarkable act, even as it was completely and utterly human. At a time when our government would scarcely acknowledge, let alone support, those living with and dying of AIDS. And yet there were courageous men and women across New York who took it upon themselves to reach out to their fellow Americans who were suffering, in many cases suffering completely alone, and offer nourishment in substance and in soul. A virus took away and an organization gave, knowing that to be human is to see ourselves each in one another. Let us guarantee that everyone with HIV can access and remain in treatment. Let's guarantee that everyone who needs it can have access to PrEP. And when science has brought us so close, let us commit to ending HIV/AIDS epidemic for good in the decade ahead of us. I believe we could be very proud of the moments ahead of us if we come together. I think of it in terms of children who approach me at events not yet old enough to vote. A 13-year-old boy who asked me what we were going to do about gun violence with tears running down his face because he's afraid to cross the threshold of his school. A 12-year-old who approached me to ask about my health insurance policies, not because she's a 12-year-old policy buff, but because she has juvenile diabetes and she's wondering what will happen to her if her parents lose their coverage. She's 12. And beside any policy response, the only fair answer to give to a child like that when you're looking them in the eye is, you shouldn't be worrying about this. You shouldn't be dealing with this because we, and by we I mean anyone old enough to vote or take responsibility in this society, we are supposed to deal with things like this so that you don't have to, so that you can concentrate on being a kid in America today. Seeking office is an act of hope, and so is bringing food and fellowship to someone who is ill. And if we can spread that kind of hope, if we can engage so wholeheartedly in making our community and our country better, then, like God's love, we will always find a way to deliver. Thank you.